Alrighty guys, we're back for Selesnya Humans, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, rocking a whole bunch of powerful cards, like Warden of the Inner Sky, for example. We got all 4 of them. It's going to be terrific in here, especially when paired with Novice Inspector. All 4 of these two, that clue token always knows how to go that extra mile. We have 1 Lunarch Veteran for specific aggro matchups. We have a couple hopeful initiates to hopefully help us destroy a pesky artifacts and enchantments. We have a whole bunch of MVPs packed into the build too, like Coppercoat Vanguard, of course. 2 mana 2/2, each other human you control gets +1/+0 and has Ward 1. My goodness. We have ways to go wide like Resolute Reinforcements, just pooping out a soldier. Now remember, that soldier in and of itself is not a human, so it won't get that extra benefit from the Vanguard, but still, it's going to be terrific in here, and nonetheless. We have all 4 Thalias packed in, speaking of our MVPs, huh? 2 mana, 2/1 first strike, legendary creature, but we still want all 4 of them, because this is likely our preferred turn 2 in like every game. So, of course, it has that first strike, but non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast is only going to tax the opponent in this specific list, because we have 37 creatures, 37 of them are in fact human, and then the rest of the deck is just land. So yeah, beautiful stuff. We have a couple Katildas. A little bit of ramp goes a long way in a build like this if you just want to like dump your hand onto the board, for example. But then also that bottom ability could potentially help us buff a nice wide board state too. We have a single Melira, the Living Cure. 2 mana, 3/3 is all I needed to see. But then it also has that ability where it limits the number of poison counters we can get in a turn. Then it also has another ability here where you could potentially kind of sort of protect another one of your creatures. And it's just like a ridiculously good card that we'd like never get to see. So removal for this build, we are opting for all 4 Brutal Cathars. I think Brutal Cathar has proven itself at this point, huh? More ways to go wide with 3 Adelines packed in, just pooping humans onto the board. Why not? It's going to go a long way. Ways to buff that wide board state like King Darien. Only a 1 of in here. Maybe it should be 2, or maybe we just need more ways to buff our wide board state in general. We also have a beautiful top end that we see all the time in Boros. We actually have a little bit of that Boros shell packed in, huh? With that Inspector and the Warden, but also Knight-Errant of Eos going to go a long way. Restock in our hands, just going to be excellent in general. Over in the mana base, guys, we're opting for fast land. Of course, we got all 4 Cavern of Souls to help against counterspells, a couple Secluded Courtyards as well, since everything's human anyways. It's realistically not going to hold us up too often unless like we're trying to power up our Restless Prairie, which is another way to buff that wide board state. We also have a Who Endures and a couple Seed of the Empires as well. Okay, guys, we're going to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. Maybe we'll change up the list a bit there too before I go ahead and upload it to AetherHub. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first match here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Oh, buddy, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be real good. Played some test matches. I forget if I erased the test matches from the deck tracker, but the deck list really didn't change since the test matches, so I don't believe I did. I think we kept that. I don't know what the win rate was right now. Either way, I think it's going to be good. Opponent goes first here, unfortunately, but not too much to complain about, I would say. We'll keep it. It's a lot of 3-drops, but we have so many 2-drops to draw into as well. Okay, Thicket. Thicket is the play for the turn. We make sure we get our turn 1 down, because we could easily draw into turn 2, and then we're ready for an old 1-2-3 punch. Oh, I see the opponent's already setting up with the old 1-2 punch. Okay, Cavern of Souls. So for this turn, we can successfully get Restless Prairie down, and it is an incredibly awkward and slow turn as Warden is just out there alone for the first time ever. That Voice of the Blessed is going to be pretty bad. Luckily, we got that Brutal Cathar ready, though. Still Seraph. Nice. Wonder if it's lifelink. It should be lifelink, right? Yeah, lifelink. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll keep that Warden alive for now. Okay, we definitely don't need any more mana from now until the end of the game. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up going for us. So Brutal Cathar, take that voice. That could be good. Steel Seraph is a problem as well. Having a successful swing means no extra human off the Adeline. It's likely the Cathar. But what do we take? So really, really slow turns for a build like this, unfortunately. I guess we'll take the voice, and I don't know if that's actually the correct decision, although it is going to get into the air in no time. Like, they could have played a creature, gained life off of the Lunarch Veteran, and then as long as it has 4 or more +1/+1 counters, it was going to get flying, vigilance, and then maybe like the other creature could have been a second Steel Seraph, for example. So I think Voice of the Blessed was correct. Resplendent Angel, nice. Lifelink on the Seraph. Because why not? It's not like they're in danger, so they don't need like vigilance or anything. More mana. Oh no. Oh no, guys. That's not good. We should only have 23 in here. So seeing 7 in the top 11, it's not ideal by any means. So Adeline comes down. No great swings again. Do we just like activate this? The only thing we can block on the ground anyway is the Veteran. But I suppose we activate the Warden. Maybe this... Oh, okay. Well, reinforcements. If I send it, guys, the card under it could be a land. So we should probably keep the reinforcements. The good news with a 2-drop too is if Adeline gets picked up for some reason instead of the Cathar. Yada, okay. Okay, this could... Okay. They're going up to 33. I don't see a way around this. They have lethal in the air next turn. Oh, they definitely have lethal in the air next turn as they got that extra bonus angel from Resplendent Angel. Oh, no, guys. Pretty brutal stuff overall. We'll get the plains down and actually just power up the prairie and just have a fun swing here then, huh? That seems pretty fun to me. Great blocks. They can block the Cathar to go ahead and get the Voice of the Blessed back, or they could block Adeline, which is technically a better block for them, but they have so much life anyways. Oh, they go ahead and block the Adeline. Huh. I would have thought that they would want that Voice of the Blessed back instead. Either way, good game opponent. Rough time over here, huh, guys? That's a lot of mana. I'll tell you what, though. Even if we saw less mana, we would have needed, like, so much more speed. Like, I don't even know what the line of play would have been to actually get around some of their lines of play there, too. Okay, guys, there's the test matches. It looks like I got 5 in, 3 total victories in a row, and then a loss there. So the total deck win rate right now is actually 50%. Like I said, the test matches wasn't too much different. The deck list, I think I changed up the mana base a little bit. If anything, it should have gotten better. Hopefully. All right, guys, let's go ahead, get into the next one. Maybe see a faster hand, maybe draw a little less land as well. Like I said, though, in that first one, I'm not convinced, like, if we had... let's say a perfect hand, I think, I don't know, the opponent, like with all their flyers and everything, maybe like a second Brutal Cathar could have done a thing. See, this is a much faster hand. Although I am concerned of drawing land for the next 4 turns now too, so start with Warden just in case. Oh, hey, Warden, what are you doing over there, buddy? You're not supposed to be over there. Hello, opponent. Katilda. Katilda, Hopeful Initiate isn't bad. Okay. Yeah, we might as well, since they're likely going to be dumping their hand onto the board, we'll be doing the same thing. If the Hopeful Initiate was our Novice Inspector instead, we would have also been able to activate the Warden's ability. That's something to think about. Okay. So Vanguard of their own. So it's humans versus humans, I guess. So Vanguard. What trade would we prefer into? I suppose we swing with Warden then, right? So we go ahead and activate this ability. Until we can actually swing with that Initiate to buff it as well, this makes more sense to me. I'm going wide against... Yeah, that makes sense to me. Especially when we have another Vanguard in hand, too. Swing for 3. Katilda's extra ramp really coming in handy here. I wonder if they target that Vanguard. So unfortunately, Melira's ability doesn't work against Brutal Cathar, so Vanguard's out of the equation. They don't know we have Vanguard number 2, though. And funny enough, oh, GG opponent. I really would have loved to play that one out, though, buddy. Well, I suppose I had fun, because winning's nice, but really would have liked to play that one out. Funny enough, protection from werewolves and Brutal Cathar, that happens to work well, but I guess first things first, they would have wanted to take the Vanguard. I suppose they looked at our board state and decided they were too far behind? Guess so. I don't know. Feel like that easily could have gone either way, depending on what they had to drop onto the board there. Like a couple turns of playing like 2 things in a row. Well, either way, at the end of the video today, I'm hoping to have the win rate around like a 60%. That would be nice. I think that's around where I would expect a deck list like this to be. It would be nice to actually pull that off then. All right. Actually, this is a Hopeful Initiate turn, huh? We got the Inspector this time without the Warden. Vanguard. All right, human. I guess Thalia before the swing, right? Because it could be a Elspeth Smite. You want to make sure you tax that. Novice Inspector. Okay, we got some Boros. We should be in a good place versus Boros right now. Especially, yeah, since we went first here. I do want to swing to make sure we get the counter on this. So it's probably going to be an Adeline turn. They block the human likely, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be an Adeline turn, I'm pretty sure. And then we'll have a better surprise. Wow. Really? Okay. The game is really concerned for our well-being right about now. It's like, wait a minute, you're having fun playing against people who concede all the time? Okay, well, here you go. Well, hey man, I'll take it, and I think it was looking pretty good for us, honestly, right? And they were probably looking at this like, well, that is one heck of a 1-2-3 punch. Probably without too much removal in Boros. We see a little bit. We see the case, right? The case is removal. What else do we see in Boros every now and then? Destroy Evil, right? For the mirror matches, I think they play that. Well, either way, yeah, we had a amazing hand too, so. Okay, well, yeah, also just chilling, casually chilling in silver right now as the ranks just recently reset. This human list should be the list to easily get us back up to gold and hopefully beyond, because, you know, I like to chill I like to sit pretty at the bottom of platinum. That's my comfort zone. Oh, man. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Ooh, we go first again. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, the hands have been terrific. I guess all the hands except for, like, the first game. I guess we could have considered that mulligan in the first game. Oh no, guys. I forgot to change my cosmetics. But that's okay because we have a rock as a friend. Alright guys, we'll go ahead and pause until the opponent shows up. Okay, the opponent has arrived. Let's go ahead and get that hopeful initiate down. Yeah, since we have that set up with Thalia, it makes more sense to me than the Warden right now. Alright, Thalia before combat, get that swing. It was not a cut down, which is important. Cavern of Souls, okay. Alright, we'll get that down, call human. And we swing. Doesn't look like it's anything. Nice. Getting some excess damage through. I am concerned about a Brotherhood's End. So I'm actually just not going to play anything. Oh no. We can play one turn since Thalia is taxing the Brotherhood's End. So maybe we'll be okay to get the Warden down. They pass it back. Another Thalia. That's actually not terrific here. How can we get this board state above the Brotherhood's End? We can't. We simply can't. Oh no. Okay, Forest definitely keeps Seat of the Empire as utility. We could tap everything, buff the Warden. Brotherhood's End comes down for 4. We might be playing around a Ghost too. I think we swing for 5 while we can. Get them down to 10. Because maybe we can successfully reestablish something after they wipe the board, right? Or maybe we'll get really lucky. Maybe it's like a Sheoldred turn. Well, that's not necessarily lucky, right? But, okay, Appraiser. Let's see what they hit here. A cut down. Okay, well, luckily that should get taxed by the Thalia still. So they're going to want to just put that into hand. Nice. Okay. Ooh, reinforcements. Well, that could have been good. So if we swing... Okay, if we full swing and they block here, they're taking 4. So if we go... Swing, swing... I want to keep that for next turn. I don't know if I want to keep this back, because I think they trade into the Initiate instead, and they also don't know what's in our hand. Okay, so it is going to be a trade into the Initiate, and I think we let them... Never mind. Let's take care of this while we can. Keep as much on the board as possible. Because they're getting really low, and if it wasn't Brotherhood's End that turn, then maybe we're safe for now. Okay, Appraiser comes down. Discover 3. It's gonna be... Go for the throw. Nice, and they have the 1 this time round. They're gonna go for that Thalia. Okay. Luckily, we have more Thalia in hand. And we are going to be going wide here, too, with the reinforcements. Maybe we'll find a way to buff this wide board state. It's going to be... mana. We know Thalia's coming down. We know that much. We full swing and they trade here. They take 3. Really struggling to actually put significant pressure on the opponent, unfortunately. If we start buffing the Warden, if we take any amount of time to do that, it just doesn't seem great, does it? To maybe guarantee the trade if we play Thalia first. Maybe they go for Warden instead. 1, 2, 3. Either way, we got to be really... Ooh, King Darien. Okay, well, that would have been Much better to see for the turn, huh? So we buffed the Warden to guarantee the trade into the Appraiser. Just get like one extra blocker off of the board state. And they're still taking 2 through here then. And that's that. Now we see, because they could drop 6th mana and then go like burn down the house. Which I feel like the Rakdos Discover lists, they definitely have board wipes in there, right? We go cut down on the Thalia for 2, and they still have 3 open. 4 open, actually. We have 4 on the board. I suppose we start with Thalia to tax whatever their plan is. And then we go King Darien to buff the rest of the board state and hope that it just gets through. GG opponent. I feel like we got a little lucky there, guys, honestly. Or maybe not, too, because like the draws could have been a little better. But the triple Thalia actually coming in handy, too. That's pretty silly. Pretty good win rate overall, guys. So remember, these first 5 games here were just test games that I played. Not really a different version of the list, just a little bit of a different mana base. I'm pretty sure that was realistically the only difference. So far, so good. We're only 20 minutes into the video, too, so we're just going to keep the ball rolling. I do think that with more games, I still think that the deck list would settle around that 60%. As I highly doubt it would be a 66%, because that would be a little bit ridiculous. You know what I mean? Should settle around 60 somewhere. That's my expectation for the list. Okay. Okay. Right. We go first here. This is keepable, I think. I'd be surprised if like reinforcements into like a 3rd land next turn wouldn't be good with that Knight-Errant. You know what I mean? Like, that's already pretty good. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see the 3rd land in time. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here. We'll go ahead and... Oh! The opponent has arrived. Okay, let's go ahead and get that plains down. Make sure we keep the Who Endures back for now, because we could see land for like the next 3 turns in a row. We would want to keep that utility. Okay, Theater. Every now and then, there's a deck that pops up that cares about bringing lands out of the grave, so... If we're up against that ramp list... I don't mean to be mean to the ramp list, but if we are up against it, then I'm feeling pretty confident. So long as we actually draw well enough here, right? Because I do think that 3rd mana is going to be necessary. Go for an island. Okay, Seat of the Empire. Nice. So if it is that ramp list, it's like Teamer, I believe. I wonder what Seat of the Empire or Who Endures can do against that list. The Empire probably does less against ramp. I'm not really sure what Who Endures could hit, but it, like, you know, it hits non-basic lands potentially too. We're just going to keep reinforcements open and hope that they don't have a counterspell for it when it comes time. I'd rather risk that on their turn than play it on our turn and then have it be like a surprise end the festivities, which would be a little bit silly, right? But you never know sometimes. Same concept with counterspells too. Like if like that would be quite the successful make disappear. Opponent is thinking maybe they have 7 lands in hand and they're trying to decide which land is the best land to play on their turn 2, right? Anyways, though, now that we got our 3rd, what ends up happening here is if reinforcements lands onto the board, helps us go wide, and we don't get a land off the top, we can always play that Who Endures. That's the 3rd, then we just full tap for the Knight-Errant probably, because a 4/4 on turn 3 is not bad, especially when it helps us restock the hand. Oh, there's no way. Did they miss? Did they miss their land? Oh no, opponent. Oh no, buddy. GG, opponent. Oh no. What's happening right now, man? Well, okay. Like I said, I want to keep the ball rolling, so let's do it. Deck win rate up to 70%. Is it the deck? Not all those games, but I'll tell you what. We're still getting really good hands, and we're getting really good lines of play too. So regardless of the opponents just like exiting the building early, I feel like if we had to put up a fight, I think we would have been putting up a great fight in all of those. Okay, well, what is there to say about the list so far? It's like humans in general. Feels like it's been set up for a while. Like humans, anything. Like Boros humans could totally be a thing too, right? Well, especially with Boros being in the positions it's in right now anyways. Are the hands just like terrific all the time? Okay, let's start with calling human on Cavern. We'll go Initiate, I think. Probably fine. Not really sure which one drop is the best one drop to start with. Ah, opponent agrees. Hopeful Initiate was the correct choice. Okay. So Plains and Vanguard is totally fine here. Get that swing. See what else the opponent's pulling off over there. Oh, mirror match? I wouldn't doubt it. Although we don't really see Selesnya humans often. Oh, it is Dusk Legion Duelist. Oh, Selesnya +1/+1 counters. Okay, so Warden's good. Vanguard number 2's terrific. That's probably the play. Keep Knight-Errant for next turn, probably, right? So they probably trade into the first Vanguard. Maybe we just play like Warden. The trade into Initiate wouldn't be terrible. This is like... Okay. So we'll see what they do here, because we have an open Plains. I think they take the 3. They do. And we'll go ahead and play Warden, and then buff Warden. It's going to be a really tricky board for... I'm going to keep that. For the opponent to do much against when the Coppercoat Vanguards are giving Ward 1 to each other, too. Kodama of the West Tree. Dude, nice. Buff the Initiate. The Vigilance helps them block still here, and they get a little bit of ramp from the Initiate because it's modified. Very nice, opponent. Call that a very clean turn. If we full swing, they still have great blocks into the Vanguards, but at that point, they take 7 from everything else. That's really good for us. Probably not that, though. Probably not. We probably keep the Vanguards back because they're doing so much for us. Swing here. And then get the Knight-Errant down. Make sure we restock our hand well enough. I don't think I should be concerned about a board wipe. I think we just go all in. So Warden comes down. Then Knight-Errant for 3. See if we can grab an Adeline to hand. Thalia, that could be good. Other than that, the Lunarch Veteran might not be bad either. Now, it's probably Thalia and Inspector. Because that'll help us get the Wardens into the sky, too. If I would have done that a little differently and kept a Plains open, we could have potentially got the Inspector down on the same turn and activated the Warden. But then we wouldn't have the blocker with the Knight-Errant, which could be important. Pretty wide here. Really good board state. Brawler. They're going to need to keep some blockers back this turn, I would say. Especially when, yeah, that Knight-Errant being a 6/4. Still got a brush land open. Warden of the Inner Sky going down to 6 here. They do have Kodama with reach. I was going to say, we could get this Warden into the air with a couple more counters. 3 or more counters, that's right. But yeah, no, they'll have the blocker with the Kodama, unfortunately. They do know the creatures that we have in hand. GG opponent. Oh my goodness. Well. Okay. I'll take it, dude. So far, this is totally a deck that we could easily get back up to platinum with, I would say, right? Yeah, but just like so far, so great, I would say. But also, like, the opponents are kind of just like opting out of the later portions of the match as well. We were getting really close there. They were at 6, and I guess they were going to be doing a lot of forced blocks, is my guess. That's probably why they conceded there. But I'm also talking about like those earlier victories too, with those really early concedes. Okay, opponent goes first, and the double Adeline is kind of reminiscent of that first match where we lost and we ended up flooding out really bad. But at least we got some 1-drops this time and potentially some life gain on the veteran too. I think this is totally worth a shot. Wow, Thalia, okay. All human. Mountain, huh? Yeah, it's probably veteran then. Because if we play initiate, that's a perfect target for play with fire. Veteran at the very least can come back later on. Yeah, I feel like we'd rather keep the initiate alive, even though, well, life gain could have been pretty good too, though. Also, sorry if that was noisy, guys. I had to move my mic around. Thicket is not bad. Thalia taxes the burn really well here. Could just be play with fire. Play with fire number 2 for 2 mana. Honestly, dude, all of that just isn't terrible for us. Gonna go for the forge. That, on the other hand, could be a problem. Hopefully, we'll just be able to get there before the forge gets a little bit too large. Well, I don't mind. Well, So if we go Prairie for the turn, let's skip the Adeline for the turn. We'll get Prairie down. And we'll dump our 1-drops. Because a surprise Adeline with a surprise 1/1 human off of the Adeline is a little bit better than just like a 1/4 for the turn, you know what I mean? And so, like, while we can get the tapped land down, we might as well. Find their 4th mana on time for turn 4. Double Mishra's Foundry could be a problem. We're going to take this 2 for sure. No blocks. They got some tricks up their sleeve. More burn, potentially. Wow, Witchstalker Frenzy. Okay. Okay. 3 burn spells hitting their mark really nicely for the opponent here. Luckily, a lot of that is pretty slow as far as what Mono Red wants to do. Alright, Forest comes down. Seat of the Empire. Gonna have to be used as utility here for sure. Adeline, and we're going for that swing. We have nothing fancy with the Warden. Which, to my surprise, it's actually been a lot harder to have those open things to tap for Warden. Really? A 3rd play with fire. Luckily, we were able to get that swing in first to get that 1/1 at least. Oh no, guys. Well, now, if we block... Okay, hold on. We do have the 2nd Adeline, guys. We could get a trick out of their hand while taking less damage for the turn. Then we won't have the swing with Adeline, but we will have the swing with the 1/1. Alright, I'm risking it. And, like, as far as, like, the risk goes, okay. Okay, Monstrous Rage. See, that's out of their hand. The roll is off of the board. So no trample for a future Swift Spear or anything. And since we had the second Adeline, all that seems to be... It seems okay. You know what I mean? Area isn't bad. Maybe we play the Seat of the Empire. We swing with the 1/1. They power up Foundry. So we actually don't have a great swing here, do we? So maybe we get Living Cure down instead. Veteran could block well in the air. This Forge is definitely going to be a problem. Okay, let's go for Living Cure, because if it's going to be like Witchstalker Frenzy number 2, for example, we'd be able to save the Adeline, which I think is going to be more powerful than the Living Cure. Either way, we got to do something real soon and hope that the opponent just runs out of stuff to do. So if we swing with the 1/1, we get a 1/1, they kill a 1/1, and nothing happened, except we tapped our 1/1, so... Yeah, hopefully they just kind of run out of things, as everything's hit its mark really, really nicely for the opponent. And this turn, unfortunately, we're taking 4, which is why we're in desperate need of doing something great here. It is gonna be a Witchstalker Frenzy. Okay, yeah, no, we should use the Living Cure. This is something else, huh? So we do have the blocker, but that trade is terrible for us. This Forge is awful, dude, and the opponent has slowed us. Who endures off the top, pops the Forge, gives them some ramp though, but like, do we care? Could always power up Prairie too. That could be pretty good. Can we outpace them? How risky do we go? This is 5. I don't think we want to try to outpace. We still have a good swing though. So we're gonna get that swing as beefy as possible here. Luminous Phantom. Maybe bringing that Luminous Phantom earlier could have been pretty good. And before anything else happens, we're going to go Who Endures onto the Forge. They go ahead and they get their mountain. Oh, you know what? We just thinned the deck out for them a little bit. So maybe we should have done that on their turn, at the beginning of their turn, right? After their draw. Witchstalker Frenzy. Oh my goodness, opponent. Oh, King Darien, very nice. But do we just like power up the Restless Prairie instead? No, probably not actually. Just like getting more onto the board seems a little bit better, because the Prairie can always come out later on. Would have been 3, it would have been an extra 6. This is an extra 3, but we're establishing a creature onto the board. And we also have the bottom ability on King Darien too, if for some reason we need to protect like these 2 humans. This totally feels like more burn. Is it going to be like their 4th play with fire? Okay, down to 7. We should be sitting pretty now that the Forge is off the board. If we didn't see that Who Endures, then we probably would have put it all into a powerful swing with that Prairie, right? I think so. Instead, we decided to hold everything back. Scoundrel, okay. Wonder if they filter here. They go for the Wicked Roll. And they still have enough to power up Foundry if they wanted to. Go for the swing. I'm definitely just going to say no blocks. They still have 3 open. Monstrous Rage. Okay, we take 1. Luckily, that's it. We have 8 on the board, plus the Restless Prairie if we needed to. Jeez, bro. Okay, I mean, I'm down. I'll take the victories. Total deck win rate is a 75% right now. You know what? We might as well just end there on a beautiful high note. 6 wins in a row. Some of those opponents did seem to give up a little bit early, but it's not too often that we get a deck win rate this high. 5 test games with a pretty similar version of the deck, just like a couple lands were traded out. A couple lands were made different since those 5 test games. Okay, guys, here's the deck list again, huh? What do I even want to say? One of those decks, too, where we do end up seeing a lot of these humans all the time anyways, because they happen to be so powerful. They're just like scattered through a whole bunch of different decks that we see in the meta all the time, or that we had seen in the meta throughout like the last couple years for some of these, right? Like Brutal Cathar, for example. Every now and then, so in a lot of those matches, Brutal Cathar didn't even like come into play, right? Every now and then, what ends up happening with Brutal Cathar is it ends up kind of just being like a tempo play for one turn because of how much removal happens to be packed into standard. And so like you play it and you kind of hope you're dealing just such a significant amount of damage that turn by getting rid of that important blocker. Because next turn, Cathar likely dies, but hopefully you just dealt so much damage in that one turn where you removed that blocker, that next turn, even though your Cathar died, you still just win anyways. Every now and then, too, it's going to flip to that nighttime Moonrage Brute, and like those are going to be, I don't know, probably most common places to see the Cathar flip is in like weird mirror matches where they're playing their Cathars too, so maybe they already got the day and night bound cycle going, right? But then the Moonrage Brute, like the first strike and the pay 3 life, just everything about Cathar is just so good. So what I'm getting to here is even though we didn't see it much today and it didn't actually like come down to Cathar winning us many of those games, it's still probably worth the 4 of, because if you end up dropping any of these, like you're getting rid of all of your removal, you know what I mean? Outside of the couple Seat of the Empires, of course, which in a deck like this, I just don't think the 2 Seat of the Empires is going to hold you up at all. So 23 total land felt fine. We flooded out the first game. Unfortunately, it was the first game, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't think that that's going to happen too often. I do think 23 is about where you want it. There's going to be so many games where you just desperately need to see your 4th mana to do 2 things on the same turn. So yeah, I think 23 is totally fine. Seat of the Empire being a legendary land isn't going to hold you up very often. And we totally saw why like we're not rocking all 4 courtyards in this one too, because there's actually going to be a lot of games where you need to make sure you can power up the Restless Prairie. So what if you only have Restless Prairie, like 3 Cavern of Souls and a courtyard? Well, you're not powering up that Restless Prairie is the thing, right? So you got to make sure that your utility lands can actually get cast. So even so, all these extra just early lands, just being able to do everything so effectively early on, just really good, man. Maybe we want 2 Restless Prairies. Maybe. I mean, there were some games where we were like, okay, well, we're going to be doing this for the turn anyway, so we might as well get our tapped land down. But if you have 2 of them, there might be like 2 turns in a row where you got to do that, and it might be a little awkward for the curve too. Something to consider, though. I do think that this is a pretty powerful land, especially in a deck like this. Overall, Warden of the Inner Sky, I thought was going to do a little more today, but it's still just like a really powerful human, especially when you're pairing this with cards like Hopeful Initiate too, so like all those extra counters and whatnot. Really going to do a thing. The Hopeful Initiate versus that Urask Forge list would have been really good, but guess what, dude? Hopeful Initiate would have just got burnt away anyways. Actually, this was one of the cards that they burnt away at the beginning, right? I think so. I think so. Yeah, their list was just a whole bunch of removal. I wonder if like all 4 Witchstalker Frenzies were in there too. But they hit 3 of their Frenzies. They hit 3 of their Play with Fires. I should have looked at their graveyard at the end there though. The 1 Lunarch Veteran, totally worth it, man. Maybe we want even 2 of these too, but that's going to depend on what you're seeing as well. If you're seeing like a lot of mirror matches and stuff, then yeah, the extra life gain might give you that extra turn that you need to find like that way to buff the board state to actually swing in. And that leads me to, yeah, something else to buff the board state. Vanguards like to hide every now and then. Now, don't get me wrong, this definitely came into play today, and it definitely won us some of those games. But you know, only 4 of them. You know, there's not 8 of them in here, unfortunately. Oh man, if we could play 8, then we would play 8, but that would be disgusting. That would be so broken if this card just read actually one of those cards like you could play any amount of these and just like a full deck of Vanguards. I can imagine that would just be really good actually, but you never know. Anyways, that's completely off topic. Coppercoat Vanguard. Is this enough to buff the board state along with Katilda's bottom ability being pretty expensive and only a 1 of King Darien and a 1 of Restless Prairie? I guess not, right? Is it always going to come down to buffing a wide board state? No, because you are like putting a lot into your individual creatures as well, with Initiate buffing itself with training, Warden buffing itself by tapping other things. Novice Inspector really didn't appear too much today either, right? Adeline totally did the thing too, so it's another perfect example of like, it's not always going to come down to buffing wide when our creatures are totally getting buffed up on their own too, so yeah. Okay. I think that's all I have to say, guys. Honestly, it just felt really powerful overall. I think this is easily one of the deck lists I could use when I want to go ahead and get back up to the bottom of Platinum where I like to sit nice and pretty. My comfort zone, as I say. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. For real, y'all are champions. Definitely check out the description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Definitely let me know in the comments too, what would you add or take out? You guys think this is the perfect creature deck list? I mean, the win rate, the win rate totally showcased it. But other than that, like I said, it should settle around a 60% win rate. I can't imagine that if we played this for 30 more games, that it would actually be a 75% win rate. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe, but I literally can't imagine that. I still think it would settle around a 60%, which is still really darn good, huh? Okay, guys. Hey, I will see you in the next video.